Hey guys, so today I'm excited to be doing a collaboration with one of my new favorite food channels here on YouTube, Oh Yum, starring Anna Olson. Now, for many of you who live in Canada, you're probably very familiar with Anna as she is the star of multiple Food Network series, and she's excited to now be bringing all of her amazing baking talents here to YouTube. What I love about Anna is her recipes are easy enough for beginners as well as the seasoned baker, my kind of cook. Anna and I have come together to share our dessert recipes for 4th of July and Canada Day, two summer holidays that are just a few days apart. So I am going to be sharing how to make a red, white, and blue cheater ice cream. I'll show you what that means in a minute. And then Anna is going to show us how to make a Canadian butter tart. This is a dessert that I have heard about for years from my Canadian friends, and I'm really excited to know more about it and learn how to make it. So be sure to head on over to Oh Yum, subscribe to Anna's channel, and you will be set for either Canada Day or 4th of July, whichever one you might be celebrating. Okay, let's get to the waffle cones. To begin, we're gonna prep the ice cream. Now, I call this cheater ice cream because it's actually a bit of a semi-homemade idea. We're gonna be using store-bought vanilla ice cream. We're gonna allow it to soften up and then swirl in some homemade fruit purees, refreeze it, and then we're gonna have this really beautiful red, white, and blue ice cream. This is gonna save us a lot of time and effort up front so that we can spend a little bit more time the day of the party making some homemade waffle cones, which are easier to make than you may think. Okay, so to prep the ice cream, you wanna do this a day before because it does need to set up overnight. You're gonna take out your ice cream just to allow it to come up to room temperature a bit and soften because it'll be a lot easier to work with that way. And then meanwhile, we're going to puree up our berries. So I like to start with a cup of blackberries. You're gonna add that to a blender and then add in a tablespoon of sugar and 1 tablespoon of water. You can puree that up and you'll see you'll have a beautiful puree on your hands. You can just transfer that into a small bowl and set it aside. And then you want to rinse out the blender just so that we can keep those colors pure. And we're going to do the same thing with strawberries. You're going to add a cup of strawberries, a tablespoon of sugar, and a tablespoon of water. And you can puree that up. Then we're going to transfer that to a small bowl and set these things aside. Then, if you don't have an ice cream maker, you may not have all of the accoutrements that come with ice cream making. So you don't need a fancy ice cream tub to store this ice cream. I think what works really well is a loaf pan, just a 9x5 pan. And what you're gonna do is scoop out your ice cream and just create like a nice single layer on the bottom of it. And then taking a spatula, you're just gonna smooth it out so that you have a nice flat surface. Then you are gonna dollop in your blackberry puree. And then you're gonna do the same thing with the strawberry puree. And then taking a skewer, you're just gonna run it gently through the ice cream and the purees so that you have a nice swirled effect. I wouldn't take it too far because you don't wanna combine the vanilla because it's pretty liquidy at this stage with the puree or you'll end up with like a blue and red ice cream. We just wanna preserve those beautiful swirls. Then you're gonna repeat that process with another layer, adding in the blackberry and the strawberry puree. Give it another swirl, and that's all you have to do. Then we are going to cover this with some tin foil and pop in the freezer overnight. Now you could just stop right there and serve this ice cream with some store-bought ice cream cones or serve it into little dishes and it would still be fun and festive. But if you wanted to kick it up a notch, you could make some homemade waffle cones, which I was surprised to find they're so much easier to make than you might think. They take a little bit of practice, but it really doesn't take long to become pretty proficient at it. So this is what you're gonna do first. You wanna take your iron and plug it in and get it nice and hot. There are a lot of different models on the market that you can find. I'll put a link in the description to the one that I'm using. Then in a medium-sized bowl, you're going to add 1 egg, 2 egg whites, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of sugar, 2/3 cup of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and then 2 to 3 tablespoons of melted butter. So start with the 2 tablespoons. If it's really too thick, you could add 1 more tablespoon. I will say that this is supposed to be a pretty thick batter. It's deceivingly thick. So don't be concerned if you think it's too thick after 3 tablespoons. That actually is the texture you're going for. Then taking a small ladle, you're going to dollop the batter in the center of the waffle iron. And then you're just gonna push the waffle iron down. And if you're using the same model, one of the things that I learned, you have to actually let it click into place. That will flatten it out really well and create a really nice seal. And then just let it cook and the light will tell you when it's ready. And then at this point, it will be hot, but just, you can take a little spatula and transfer it onto a clean dish towel. And then using the cone that comes with the waffle iron, You're gonna line the edge of the cone up to the edge of the waffle, and then roll at the same time. As your cone is sort of setting up, you can leave it right there. Just go to the bottom, to the tip, and give it a good pinch. Because at this stage, the cone is still pliable and it will let you pinch, and then it will kind of set up that way. And this will prevent having all of your ice cream leak out the bottom once you start to serve your cones. Then I went ahead and bought these little cone holders, which work really well when you're making the cones. It's also a nice thing to serve the cones in as well. But you don't need this little contraption. You could just actually set these on a cooling rack to set up if you didn't have that. You'll see when you scoop into that ice cream, you'll start to see all of that beautiful red and blue coming from the blackberries and the strawberries. It's such a fun and festive thing to do, especially for an occasion like the 4th of July, and it just sets up so nicely in these little waffle cones. All right, you guys, I hope you give this one a try and let me know what you think, and be sure to head on over to Oh Yum, subscribe, check out Anna's delicious butter tart recipe, and I will see you back here next time for another quick and easy recipe. Until then, bye.